So weeds, we need to understand the definition of weed, like it is unwanted plant. So usually, if, according to agriculture sciences, if there is a wheat plot or paddy plot, the jawar in that or any red gram in that is considered to be a weed. So a plant where it is not wanted, if it is growing there, it is called unwanted. So, but whether it's useful or not, we are not bothered. So, suppose if there's a maize plant in a red gram plot, so maize is also considered to be weed. So now this is one definition. But apart from us, in the farmers' mentality, any unwanted, there are many things they are not using, whatever they are not using, they are called unwanted. They are called weeds. But before that, when we understand the farming we all understand as growing crops or livestock. So we sow the seeds and then harvest it and use it. So whatever we don't sow, if it is growing, we are not using it as it's considered to be a weed. Okay. So why we do get into farming is it supplies our food requirement and also the raw materials for many of our industries. Uh, so agriculture is art and science of cultivating the soil and growing crops and raising livestock. It's also living with other living organisms that we are forgetting. So it's like living with other living organisms. We just keep it in mind. We'll use this word again. So these are unwanted plants that you are seeing on the screen. We never use this as vegetables or any food supplement and all. So we usually try to kill all these things, like whatever you are seeing that there grass is there, Bermuda grass, and that is I know the names. So they are all unwanted. So a wild plant growing where it is not wanted and in competition with cultivated plants. It is, we feel that whatever we are growing, they are cultivated plants, and we feel that they are competing with this. But there is a book called Weeds Are the Guardians of the Soil, which says they support the plants. So we need to understand the truth behind this, who they support it, what plants support what crops, and all this. Second definition is a plant in wrong place. Example, commonly are plants unwanted in human control settings. Okay, they are called weeds. So food, we need to understand what is all food. So when we talk about food supplements and all, we need to understand whether these first two food of bread and bun are the food or the green what you are seeing is food. And you just there is a thought of brain and heart. So when you think of we may feel that this bread and all are tasty, but when you talk to yourself and feel these second things are good. Okay, these vegetables, fruits that you are seeing, able to see, any nutritious or that in order to maintain life and growth. So whatever that supplements for nutrients and food particle that's use our that's considered to be a food. So we need to understand whether this is food and this is food. Once if you feel that this green is food, then with this what I'm talking to be relevant. Yeah, class. Food is any substance consumed. Food is any substance that consumed to provide nutritional support for an organism. So we need to understand that it provides nutritional support, not just fulfilling our belly. It should provide nutritional support. Food is usually of a plant, animal, or fungal in origin and contains essential nutrients. So it should contains all the essential nutrients that body requires, like fat, proteins, vitamins, and minerals. And if this goes wrong in our body, then obviously we lose our health. So for that, we need to eat what is good, and then what is good, then it comes the weeds are the best source of all these things which we consider in today's science. So how our food should be. So this is what I feel when a food should be. It's like usually we are monotonous in this style. So usually we have a rice in the morning or chapati in one style. So we don't have a food like what is you are seeing in leaf. And there's a lot of difference between having this food and this food. So when it comes to this, obviously we can supplement only when we can start consuming all unwanted plants food. Otherwise, only aloo or potato or on tomato kind of. So why this is the another right where weeds are considered to reduce the yield, can reduce the quality of the yield, reduce interference in the our agriculture operations, poison the animal sometime, and they stop the water flow and all. So these are the things which are reasons for us to kill the weeds. So, but when we don't kill them weeds, we need to try to use them. So losses caused by weeds are alternative hosts. So many times weeds are considered to host for insects of the main crop and all. Then the weeds affect health of the humans also sometimes. There are dangerous weeds also, which right time they we don't use, wrong time uses of that we'll see it in the photo next. But some weeds are good when they are eaten in some form, but in another form they are dangerous. So we need to understand that. Okay. So some of the benefits of the weeds are they are conserves. Apart from food, they conserve soil. So once soil is conserved, automatically our food supplement is met out. Because if we lose the soil, obviously our crop yield is reduced. So if we conserve the soil, then there will be increase in the crop yield, again which helps in food supplements. Food and shelter can be provided for natural enemies of pest and even alternative for as they are host for some insect pest, they are also host for the beneficial insects. So once the beneficial insects are living on the weeds, obviously our yield increases. Weeds can also be valuable in the case of growing conditions in the field, for example, water level, compaction, and pH. Sometimes some weeds represent the soil structure, soil texture, the soil type, and even some weeds are predicting the rains also. So those things will help us to take a decision and help in increasing the yield. Weeds can be an important source of food for wildlife, especially birds. See, many weeds are host for wildlife, food for wildlife, and some flowers of those plants will be for honeybees and all. So when honeybees are there is an increase in yield. So there is the data which says in red graph 10% increase in yield is because of one honeybee beehive, and as sunflower is 25% increase. So obviously these weeds will help us to retain or give these birds and honeybees so that our increased yield is achieved. Weeds are source of pesticides. Some weeds can be used as pesticide and all. So that's benefits of the weed. But we are trying to understand what is the direct food value in the coming slides. So what these are the plant use and all. Okay, these are the ill effects of herbicides. So when we try to have a hundred in these fields, these are the ill effects. So we lose our brain, health and all. So to avoid this, we need to start using weeds as food. Once we start use weeds as food, obviously this herbicide there is no value. So herbicide is not used, so these situations will not arise. These herbicides will kill the valuable food and fodder and soil microorganisms. Herbicides in many countries have been banned because of obvious health reasons. In India, Punjab and Kerala have also banned herbicides. Points is to kill after liquidation. Okay. So what if still if we kill the weeds, we lose the diversity. So once the diversity is lost, suppose that if you lose one plant, the insects and birds relying on those plants will also die. And there is a cut in biological cycle which is dangerous for survival. So one for all of us to survive, relevance of biodiversity is very high. So if biodiversity has to be maintained, we need to stop killing weeds. This is some financial data. Okay, now coming to the picture. See, these are the two common weeds, Alternarius sessiles, which is called Vanagani in Kannada, and this is Tribulus terrestris, which is called Negimulu in Kannada. Okay, these obviously we never use as food. But if you start using this as a food, they are very like a vegetable fish. So you use any palak or all those things. So methi. So in similar way, these also can be cooked. So if they start cooking these weeds, obviously their presence in the field also reduces, and also we can fulfill the belly for all the 140 crores population and even the population it grows. So now if these are unwanted, they are killed in the field itself. So they are waste. So we need to learn using this. So obviously when we start using this, we can supply food to all the 140 crore population. This in the first photo, while white leaf flowers are there, its leaves are edible, usually cooked by steaming or boiling and eaten as a spinach, just like spinach. The plant is also believed to be beneficial for eyes. So this is very good for eyes. And there is stories in mythology where lost eyes can be regained with this leaf. And it's also used to make kajal also. In the second yellow flower, used in traditional medicines for chest, pain, heart problems and all. And for this, there is a thorny seeds which are also used as medicine. And the cost of them in varies 10,000 rupees per kg or so. So in that sense, so now these leaves can be cooked like just like chickpea leaves or methi leaves and all. So if this the health benefit of this is we can gain what is called leg pain and all can be reduced with these leaves. So this acts as a vegetable also. and this is nutrition support for the rural mass and those who consume that, and also some job opportunities for who consume from the field. So, like landless laborers also can take disadvantage of this growth of weeds as vegetables and sell, make money, get an employment. So next is this white and yellow flower, Guidance pilosa. It is usually is considered to be dangerous, but it's very the flower edible, and leaves can also be used as vegetables, just like palak. Young leaves can be used. The leaf decoction is used for treating headache, and even in case of what you call jaundice, this leaves is very good. Second is Camelina species. This Camelina bengalis is kind of thing cooked like any leafy vegetable. So we cooked this. We had a, almost these weeds we cooked and made a program in our area, giving city and rural urbanites the food of these things. We made around 15 to 16 vegetables of such weeds, and we had a program. So we all tasted all these things. It's not theoretical presentation. We cooked it. Heal swelling treatment of urinary. This is the health benefit. I'm not bothered about health benefit here because we don't see what is the health benefit when eating bendi, when eating potato, when eating tomato or brinjal kind of thing. So we want our food supplement, food belly to be fulfilled. So while eating these things, we shall bother about fulfilling our belly and at the same time conserving nature. So we are not destroying any nature. We just plucking these things which are grown naturally and we are using it. So in a way, we are protecting the nature and fulfilling our food. See this usually Giloi, Amrut Bali. So this Amrut Bali is considered as a medicinal crop and we try to use only when we get a fever. But it can be used to make dosa, it can be used to make bhaji kind of thing, and it's also good for even chutney can be made out of this. A very delicious chutney with curd can be consumed, and it is not just nutritious; it's also healthy. So a plant that you are growing is a plant that's growing on the border crops or thorny plants. It's like unwanted. If you start using that, our nutritional or food value can be met out. By this, we can reduce the burden on the government on the law of the public to grow more and more using chemical and pesticides. So if that pressure is reduced, obviously there is a need for urea or DAP or pesticide is reduced, and obviously people go for organic cultivation. And once they go for organic cultivation, biological cycle is retained, and also people start getting healthy food. So our small action can lead to a big biological and this is called next plant is what you call
Hello.
sorry.
Hello.
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 Hello. Yeah, madam, it's audible.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, we lost your audio.
Okay. So
Now you can speak, sir.
okay. So now we heard about Amrutpalli or yeah. So this Gilo is one thing which we usually use, and next is Punarnava. Next, whatever one more you are seeing, it is Punarnava. Punarnava is a Sanskrit word which means gaining life again. So a dead body can be brought into life. That's what. But now it's just like palak or spinach kind of. It can be used in sambar. It can be made into chutney kind of thing, and it's obviously grown everywhere in the field. So we have a trouble in the field removing all these things. So instead of wasting money on removing, we can use as a food and obviously bringing vegetable from the cities to again rural areas can be reduced and that is small. So these can also be considered vegetables. See now this is Bermuda grass, Cynodon dectoler is a grass. So now it's even the herbicide is named after this like karke hullu kind of thing. So when this is used as a food, it can be made into chutney. It can be used as juice like tea and all. And if you start providing this herbal tea itself, this juice from this leaf, dried or even fresh, then you are giving a good health to the public. So usually when we go to city, other houses and all, people give us tea, and we are not interested in drinking tea, but still we are forced to take it because of rules or kind of thing, social this one. So now if we can start consuming this as juice, obviously there's a it's called best detoxifier. It boosts of hemoglobin, improves skin tone, reduces cholesterol, awakens digestion, stop bleeding, cures lung problem. This is called as Bhulokada Sanjeevani in Kannada. So it's like Sanjeevani grass, Bermuda grass is Sanjeevani kind of thing. So for leg pain, spondylosis, it's very good. So imagine the 140 rupees 100 gram. Now even our most like potatoes and all, they are not at this rate. This unwanted plant is costing on 140 rupees for 100 gram, like 1400, 1500 rupees kg. So which is obviously has a value. So as a farmers or as city people, we need to understand as a farmers, if it's growing in my field, we need to start using such plants. As such, we listed around 200 such unwanted plants which are very edible for edible nature. So this is Mimosa pudica, which is called Muttidhara Muni in Kannada. So touch me not, kind of touch me not. So if you touch this, there's a one which ports reverse and one ports normal. So now this also has a port like 1400 rupees kg. This can also be made. The leaves of this can also be made into chutney or even can be cooked like vegetables in frying on the pan and all with onion. So it can be very delicious. We made a chutney of these things. It's like very it's good to taste. It's nothing bitter and all. It's very good and people can consume very healthy. Okay. So now these benefits of these things are expressed in our rituals also. Then side of this grass we give it to Ganpati just for a remembering kind of thing. So it's called Boloka Sanchiti. So it's a representation that it's good for. So then Acranthus aspera, this Uttarani in Kannada. This also leaves can be cooked just like other leaves, made into sabji or chutney kind of thing. And even the seeds of this can be cooked like rice after the so even the sweet can also be made out of these things, whatever the seeds of this Acranthus aspera. So seeds can be cooked into sweets or just like rice cooked and eaten. Leaves can be cooked into vegetables, chutney and all. Even the stem of this can be used as a brush toothache for tooth problems and all. It can be used as the best toothbrush. See, this plant everyone knows, bale. Usually, bale we only use during Shivratri for 3 leaves for Shiva and all, forget all that. So it's not just showing those 3 leaves to Shiva, but using the parts of it. Leaves is a good detoxifying agent for the human body. Cashew is against the cancer. It's used for drinking and all leaf. And leaf also can be used as food supplement. But more than that, this fruit can just be eaten like other fruits like apple or custard apple or even what is like orange and all. So just the pulp of this can be eaten just like other fruits. So if you start eating this pulp of this fruit, you obviously grow more and more fruits in your area, and obviously biodiversity is maintained. And the health benefits of all this being that this plant being in the field is achieved. There are many things which is behind this presentation right now. So pulp is eaten raw, pickled. It can be made into pickle or even juice can be made. In Delhi, Chennai, and all, the glass of the juice is costing 20 rupees, 30 rupees, kind of thing. So these are the Rajasthani people who are making collecting these fruits and selling it across. So this fruit also comes in summer, and when the body is very heat, temperature outside temperature is very heat, and now body has to be cool, and this fruit is very good during that time. So our all seasonal fruits that we get wild and or obviously cultivated, they have a specific season because of our health benefits. So we can consume during those things. So now this presentation at least should lead you to start eating this food from next onwards. Okay, so try consuming this during the season. And this is one Josephus oenopolia. This is a small fruit, obviously grown wide. When people never understand this, villagers will understand it. It's a very good fence crop. So it's not even cultivated, grown and all. It's a fence crop. It can be grown across border of the plot. So these fruits can be eaten. Forget selling. At least if you start consuming slowly, obviously in future days people will get demand. And this is one which grows across every border, everywhere, even in wherever water condition, water is there, or even some border area, wherever it grows. So now this fruit is very tasty. It can be made into just like a lemon juice. So lemon juice, you can eat it. You can just like lemon juice. You just squeeze it, put some water, and put some salt, or so, and you can consume it with even without sugar also. So it's very good to taste when it is ripe in the first photo. And this is Baswanpada, where ornamental plant is considered, and we never try that it is very good vegetable. The seeds, what you call fruits of this plant, when tender, can be used like our cluster bean or bendi. So just like cluster bean, this can also be made into vegetables and eaten. So now I assume this plant, it's not just ornamental. It attracts honeybees, good for soil, good for fodder, and leaves are also good fodder for the plants. So these plants become very good fodder for our animals like cow, sheep, goat, and all. But these foods, when tender, are very good for us to use. And there are health benefits. Apart from that health benefits, right now I'm concentrating on we even without chemical fertilizers, we can grow as much as food we want for all growing population, not just 140, even the population increases to a next level. So now for that only it's not our only food, rice, wheat or the food. There are many things which we are not using today as vegetables. This earlier our people used to use it. Only thing we need to start reusing. This is Samania Soman rain tree. This fruit pod this plant grows across. There are many plants in many of our campuses. So now this fruit is just like taste like a this jaggery. If you start eating when ripe, usually students make into ball, cricket ball kind of thing and play with this. But if you start eating it, you just pulp of inside will just be like jaggery. And there are good health benefits of this also. This Cordia oblique Antu Hannu or in Subulkai in Kannada people call it. It's like gummy kind of thing when you start eating. It's a very gum kind of thing. If you eat, it's like very taste also, but it's very good for health. So once in a year, if you eat it, the people say you don't get hernia or even jaundice kind of, and even ulcers will go for these people say. So now we need to start using these unwanted plants for our daily intake. So whenever they are available, if you start consuming them obviously we are our burden on the cultivated crops is reduced. So our burden on the cultivated crops is reduced. Obviously, there is a less requirement of chemical pesticides and even chemical fertilizers, which reduces the burden on the farmers to spend on chemical fertilizers. It reduces the burden for the government to reduce the spend on fertilizers and all. So, which obviously indirectly helps you to save your money. See these four foods, which the one is Momardika, it's Karchika in Kannada. This is what the fruit that seeds, fruits, and flowers you are able to see. And now I say a story about this when in tender, it's very good vegetables. But if it matures, there are thorns on this, and they are very dangerous for the skin. There will be huge itching of these thorns on the body. So if just looking into this presentation, and if you start touching this plant, Nuctuna prurens, um, this is very dangerous when it is matured enough because thorns are very it creates itching on our body. But then when they are young, it's very good for health. It reduces many of our diseases like asthma or acidity kind of thing. Okay, so now this is Opuntia delaney. This is just like dragon fruit. This also what do you call? Mm, I forget it. Opuntia delaney. The red fruits are very tasty to eat. Just they taste like our present day dragon fruit. Okay, those also can be used. And this sweet tamarind can this is a, in our area it's called sweet tamarind. This Phytocelobium dulce. This also seeds oil is extracted from the seeds and consumed, but the pulp is very tasty to eat. So it's a wild food. Usually, or these people when they go for grazing and all, they eat it. But for us, it's like for you all, you can definitely consume it. Have a plants in our area and start consuming it. Then it's not just the fruit or not the plant parts and all. So what we consider waste today are also can be used for our food supplement. In pomegranate, see usually we eat the seed part or the pulp juice kind of thing. We throw away the pulp, is the cover of the peel off. So this peel off is very good food supplement. It's not just peel off, even pomegranate leaves are also very good, has a very good value in food. So it's not this what you call when you buy pomegranate, just don't concentrate on the seed or juice. Even the peel off of the fruit can also be good uh, food supplement. You can eat it. Even not just the fruit, even the leaves of pomegranate can also be cooked and can also be used in daily diet. Next, orange peel off. It also has a very good food value, and even what you call beauty care products can be made out of. So these things, any fruit, not just we tried around 25 fruits, which the leaves of that fruits of plants are also very good as a food value. Sometimes the pulp, seeds, and even the bark, some of the plants, gum that releases are also have a food value. So now onwards, whenever we have come across a plant, whenever we come across which has many fruits and all, Just Google it out. Try to understand whether it is a food value or not. If you find there is a food value, just again search for some videos and all. There are many videos which can make it. Just like recently we made mango leaf chutney. So usually we know mango food chutney. Even the fruit kernel inside we are not using. Earlier kernels were burnt and made and eaten. So there was a time when people used to fight for kernels also, seeds also. So mango seeds were eaten. Right now we are not eating the mango seeds, and for which we are trying to bring seedless mango kind of thing. So once seedless mangoes comes, obviously that will have an impact on our what you call um, human health and all. So now this forget mango fruit, even the mango leaves are used as chutney. So understand if mango leaves are used as chutney and mangoes are not, we are not getting, still we raise the plant and help in biological balancing. So mango leaves can be used chutney, pomegranate leaves can be used as chutney. This okay. Now this is one thing which is not food value, but still is unwanted plant which used in our economic generation and also employment generation. So this benefits are like women rural employment, they get employment and all. So this is one weed which also can be cooked. Just like there are some videos which you can come across. So this is one more which we never try to use. The fruits of this have a ear inside kind of thing. People try playing with this, and when they put up their touch it, it will come a sound like people use it. So these leaves have also beneficial value, food beneficial value. So now this is Atibala Mahabala. Even there is a saying, if you start eating one leaf on a daily basis, you don't get joint pain to total throughout your life. So leaf can be cooked just leaf vegetables and made it food. It's unwanted, it's grown many weeks and weeks per year. Many this grows very. So when it's obviously we can use, so use this, we can reduce the burden on cultivated crops. So this is one more which can be used as food. Again, this is what we see in the previous slides. This is like this is again vegetables. So cultivated and uncultivated varieties are there. This is uncultivated variety which grows widely, and this also can be used as just like Rajgiri. Though this also has a vegetable value. So this is again a food value. Yes. So this also can be used just like spinach into sambar, chutney, and all. So these are unwanted plants which we are trying never used as food. So what is like these are the, so for that when we try to understand this, why we need to know this, why we need to try understanding weeds as food value? Because when there is a pressure on cultivated varieties, people think that only cultivated varieties are the food. We try to grow them a lot. And once we try to grow them a lot, we try to use more and more pesticides on those crops. And we forget at that time that use of pesticide is more dangerous than atomic fallout. Remember this sentence. It's not given by us, a normal scientist. It's a Dr. Wisner, a science counselor to the President of America. Huh? They are not normal people. See, this science council to President of America is saying use of pesticides is more dangerous than an atomic bomb. We can realize in Japan when atomic bomb was taken, was dropped. So what loss went. So if that when this use of pesticide itself is more dangerous than atomic fallout, you realize the importance of these plants for using them as food value. English naturalist Gilbert, earth without worms would soon become cold, hard, bound, and void of fermentation and sterile. See, once the earth loses its worms inside, obviously soil becomes like hard rock. And when hard rock, it becomes nothing can be grown in that. So hard rock, it becomes when we put more and more fertilizers and more pesticides in that. So if you want to not to make hard soil hard, we need to stop using fertilizers and urea and pesticides. Apart from that, we need to see that soil is enriched with more and more unwanted plants. So more and more plants means obviously unwanted today we are considering. So they are also wanted. Only thing they are just like we are not don't know the value of that, so we are not using it. So now onwards, this should create some thought in you that any plant that you look at, you need to start looking at as how it can be used as food. What part of that plant can be eaten? So when at what stage that part of the plant can be eaten? If these 3-4 questions comes into your brain and start using them as food value in your daily food system, obviously this presentation becomes work. So we used chutney of mango leaves. We made aloe vera pickle. We made pomegranate leaves chutney, and we made what you call giloy leaf chutney. Even hibiscus for that matter. Hibiscus that we grow in our orchard every time, or even whose kitchen garden, and we never use as a food. We only use the flowers for temple and all. But the leaves can be used just like urd dal in when making dosa and all. So though this hibiscus plant is an unwanted in food system. So, but right now the leaves also has a very good food value and health benefits. And flowers can be used for making decoction and all. Even mango leaves can have a very good mango tea kind of thing. So it's we put some jaggery, water, boil it, 2-3 leaves, and it is taste also is good and nutrition also is good. So need to think is we use like in 2022, 2.515 lakh crore was of fertilizer subsidy. So only on fertilizer subsidy we spend this much, 2.15 lakh crore. If we start consuming the sun, which are normally naturally growing plants and vegetables, obviously to some extent these things can be reduced. Then the pesticide industry in India is 2.2 billion into 2021. So this much pesticide is using. If this is reduced, obviously it's your money and my money. So this, if it's saved, it helps us to build a better economy. Indian fertilizer market reached a value of 858 billion in 2021. See, obviously, again we need to think on this fertilizer market size. So now we need to understand whether they are really unwanted or less wanted. So we need to realize, understand whether these plants are unwanted or less wanted. They may be less wanted today. If you start consuming it, obviously they will be more wanted than what we use today, tomato or potato. So once we start using this, obviously we are more healthy, environment is healthy. There is no reason for us to think on our carbon footprint, spend money on research on carbon footprint, global warming. All these things are whatever buzz, chemical, the scientific words we use, uh, jargons we use will have no value. Only thing, a small change in our food system will lead to a big changes into positive things. With this, my presentation is over. So, any doubts in this? Anything that you can ask with respect to unwanted plants, food supplements, please. This is
Thank you very much, sir, for a wonderful presentation. I will take up the questions from the participants, sir. In the meantime, can you please stop sharing the screen, sir, so that you can on your video?
okay. Okay. This is the book that we have at Kalagalintara. This book has around 200 plants, a list of the details of the 200 plants that can be consumed as food. One second. One second now. Right.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please on your video, sir.
Okay. Okay.
I'll take up the question, sir. What are the nutritional benefits of incorporating weeds into our diet, and how do they compare to traditional food sources?
Okay. Now the question traditional food is itself has a lot of meaning in it, because traditional food, obviously earlier we were using this as food. This thought came to me when this old lady at some village said, "Arey, today you are lucky that you are getting onion and tomato, potato and all. Earlier we used to eat some plant that cooked in Kannada we call. So that weird we used to eat it. So now that flag that put a thought in me that there are people who are eating all these things. So it's not traditional or this. This is not new thing. It was earlier people were eating. Next question, what you said is nutritional thing. All these things, what I said, this one cook in Kannada, so cook in Kannada. This weed, when we published a book, it was the cover photo, page photo, and people start using it. And I got to know that I got a call from Bangalore saying that they require that vegetable, that plant is vegetables on a daily basis 1 ton. Then I realized, because we never try to harvest it, we never try to do that anything with that. So I realized the importance of it. Then I asked them why and all. They said it's good for kidney and we usually sell as vegetables in our area. They don't get much. So after that, I said we cannot harvest it and we cannot give it because it's not my bread and butter at that stage. So then they said at least give us some seeds so that we can sow there. So people are trying to grow whatever is unwanted for us. So that was good for kidney patients. So all these things, when what we listed 200, have one or the other medicinal properties. But I never try to highlight that medicinal property because when we say giloy for fever, so only get when you get a fever, you feel that giloy has to be taken. Otherwise, no. So, but when you get a fever, you never take a giloy, you go to doctor. So I want this giloy to be a normal food supplement in you. So it should be eaten on a weekly basis or 15 days basis or monthly basis. At least once in a month you use giloy. Once in a month you use mango leaf. Once in a month you use bengalensis. Once in a month you use Bermuda grass. So that you use all and get more and more nutritious. So now once there was some farmer advised me the number of these unwanted plants are today we consider. If you start consuming the vegetables, the one you eat today, the next line comes only after a year. Suppose if you eat today brinjal, the brinjal turn should come next year. That means 365 different varieties of vegetables you can eat on a daily basis. So there are a lot of nutritional benefits based on the particular wheat. There are many benefits out of it. And this is what I have to say.
Okay. Can you provide examples of common wheats in India that are rich in essential nutrients and could serve a potential food supplements?
So quite difficult at this stage for me to use names because the English names I'm not particular. Kannada names I don't know how you understand it. If people are understanding Kannada, I can give some names. Okay. Because Kannada names I can give, but English names I'm not very particularly. This Anya Soppu, what we use is very good. Bermuda grass that we see it, we talked about. Neggi Mullu, what I showed the picture, that's also very good with the fishes. Okay. And Basant Pada is there, pale foot is there, Bengalensis, Bengalensis that I showed. So almost every weed that we listed, 200 weeds, Sattarki Palya, that Sattarki is very good in rich calcium. It is cultivated in Australia, and recently one of our industry people purchased the seeds from Australia of those and cultivated here. So unwanted, which was weed, is now industry propagated, promoted plant there. So Hattarki Palla is rich in calcium, and there are many such plants which are rich in all calcium, vitamins, proteins, and all. But I'm not getting any particularly this that also I could name. ಕೋಳಿ ಪಲ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕರ್ಚಿಕಾಯಿ that's what small tender small like just like a ridge guard there are small fruits on my presentation they were called karchikai. It's very good against jaundice kind of jaundice, so those things can be consumed.
Okay.
Okay.
How can farmers easily identify and distinguish between beneficial edible weeds and harmful invasive species in their fields?
Okay, it's true. Usually, by virtue of their experience, they will try understanding. They start consuming it. But earlier, see, there is a book called Puttiramana Purana, small book published. So where the lady, age-old lady, can identify so many vegetables. And earlier, this women, when they used to go to weeding or they used to have a celebrate on a weekly basis, they used to go to feed. Like now, you go to shopping to purchase it. They had a system of going to field and collect all those plants for their weekly use of vegetables. So there is a culture they had. So right now we lost that culture and again quite difficult for us. So now when we have tried to put a button, we have a cautious now. Okay, there's a whole we don't put only button can be touched, not the wires and all. It's a conscious. So when you anything when you go to drive a car, we need to break it when it is needed. So for a newcomer, all these things look similar: accelerator, brake, clutch. But someone who is riding, they understand what is accelerator, what is brake to normal. So when you start into field, when you start learning of these things, obviously you'll be able to understand how to identify that. Because lot many unwanted plants leave some fragrance, they have unwanted fragrance, like unlikable fragrance. And usually sometimes they are not very lucrative. And sometimes they'll release some milk kind of thing when you touch it, when you break it or when you pluck it and all. So there's some milk kind of thing, which is not advised to eat. So when it's a good fragrance, when it's not leaving even milk, when it is when you even taste it, sometimes we have bitter experiences when we tasted it. There is a plant called Mangarvali. You can any audience can look into Google afterwards. Mangarvali. So there's a small finger-like plant. Uh, that is very good for the bones, kind of when bones are broken or some joint pains and all. That's very good. So once we tried touching that again, suddenly we tried to taste it. But
Hello.
incident. Today we made a chutney out of. Today we made a chutney. This is not today. The incident I'm saying. We made a chutney. Our age-old people in the village made it and gave it. And after a few weeks, again we wanted to make chutney in another area. So we got that plant and we just tried it. Anyway, I ate chutney. Why should I not eat it? I just tried to touch it with my tongue. Suddenly it started itching. Then it started so itching that I was really like for a few minutes I was like it was lot of itching there. So now afterwards I realized it got pay, everything is fine and all. But again, when we cooked it next day, it was very tasty. Then I talked to those people who cooked it. Then they said, "Oh, outer layer has to be removed, and only the inside there's a pencil kind of thing which need to be cooked." So we need to learn this. So it doesn't come by theoretical. Only we need to see the plant, Google it out, or ask some elders. It's interest in food system, understanding food system, and interest in understanding plants will lead to more knowledge. But some rules is it milk not lucrative. Some bad fragrance are not good for health.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take up the next question, sir. Are there specific regions in India where certain edible weeds are more prevalent, and what factors contribute to their abundance?
Yeah, obviously, when you go to Mallinath area in Karnataka or anywhere water logging, where conditions, if you say like in my area, Gulbarga and Bihar and all, so dry belt, usually we see less of flora and fauna. Okay, usually flora. So now when you go to Mallinath area, Dharwad, Mangalore belt and all, where Kerala, Tamil Nadu, or Assam, Tripura kind of thing, usually there is a huge flora. So more the plants because there's a moisture water level or water moisture is very not rain I'm talking but the moisture conditions it's very high. So once the moisture is there, plants sustain a lot, and there is more and more plants start growing. Wherever dry area, obviously now from December to next June we don't get a rain. Obviously there's a wall of dry area, so we don't get much of the weeds. So more the weed plants, more the flora, more are edible. So in wherever water conditions are environmental condition, congenial, and environment here is more specifically the water situation, obviously there will be more weeds or more plants which can be used as vegetables rather than in a dry belt.
Okay. What cultivation practices can farmers adopt to promote the growth of beneficial weeds for the food supplements?
Okay, it's like individually farmer doing is quite difficult at this stage, but what is on a societal basis or a community basis or government level, it can be done. So what we feel like now the International Year of Millets is celebrated, and every year millets. Few years back, if you taken a millets was not considered to be good work. But right now, because of lot many private NGOs, private doctors, and even government sharing hands with them, is people are getting more awareness about millets. So similarly, at school level, children can be brought like interest in these plants, making them understand some 10 plants, 10 year, like first year one plant, second plant. So 10 plants can be asked, and science teacher explaining the food value of all plants available in their area. The interest or curiosity in the students all will realize interest increases and they start consuming. Once they start consuming it, word of mouth from farmer. If I'm a farmer, what I did is when I go to my field, I pluck some unwanted plants and give it to my friends for consumption. So next time they taste it, and next time they ask if it is good, they ask, "Arey, host, last time you gave it, please bring some more when you go to the field next time." So I am doing on the social basis. But when a farmer is a commercially doing, obviously when people start are some community people, like some particularly one community people in Gulbarga, wherein they only bring some unwanted plants and sell it in a market. So there's a particular place wherein they come and sell. But over a period of time, if it still if we don't use them, over a period of time they will lose them also. Okay, so in every area, every village, like if you go to Mysore and all, banana stem is also sold as vegetable. In Gulbarga, banana stem is never used as vegetable. So now such things are there across. So farmers, if they are taking it, they when they start selling their produce directly, cultivated product directly, along with that they can take this uncultivated also and say that this also can be used as vegetable. And tomorrow there's a festival, like in the next Amavasya, there is a festival, Elamasi, wherein they make use vegetable, that they use many vegetables and make a subject out of that. Now all those unwanted plants which would have been used regularly are also used during this time. So why not, why only during this festival? Why not throughout the year? So such things they have to happen. So farmers, they need to understand what are grown in their field. They should start eating that, using that, and once they start using it, they should start communicating to the their near and dear ones that this we eaten and it's good, we got this benefit and all. So then they will also realize, and if they don't get it, they will ask them. So once they ask them, they can say
Okay.
yes.
I'll take up the next question, sir. Are there any traditional or indigenous practices related to the use of weeds as food supplements that can be shared and integrated into modern farming?
Yes, there are many things. Like what we call, only thing, the meaning of these buzzwords have changed. See, there is an integrated farming system. So, integrated farming system in modern science is growing crop and animal, crop and some fishery. So, it's not that. Integrated farming is whatever there is available in my field has to be used for my economic benefit. So, what it's not weeds, we are trying that in the mind itself, we are thinking weeds are unwanted. So, first that thought has to be removed, and then when that thought has to be removed, integrated farming is use of all those things for your daily uh, benefits. It must be cloth, it must be food, it must be anything. So now weeds can be used as food. So there's a plant available, this can be cooked, try eating that only. Why not? Why you buy, you sell milk and get potato from the market? Okay, why you sell some cow, some sheep and goat meat and try to get some oil from other market? So now whatever available is, if that thought is developed, integrated farming doesn't just only start cultivating two, three things. It's using all our resources available. Then obviously this will be a part of our modern science. And there are some people following this across.
Okay,
There are
okay.
people who try to propagate, produce it. There are in Shimoga belt and also farmers. What they do is they process it, make it to powder and sell it. They make it to some paste and all they make sell it. There's some farmers in Mysore also, wherein there is a list of around 100 to 700, 800 products made out of all such things.
Okay. How can we overcome societal perceptions and encourage wider acceptance of incorporating weeds into our daily diet?
Okay, again, it's at individual level is quite difficult. Like what we do is we conducted two events last year, June, July. So wherein we try to collect some weeds and made food cooked into vegetables, and we invited people from cities to consume it. And this time they asked, when you are conducting the event now again, it is 6 months back you conducted. Why don't you conduct regularly? So they have started tasting it. So it's one when we there are few people like us who are working across to make these vegetables. So it's a small thing. So when more and more hands come together, that you start putting. Yesterday, last week, what we did is we put a mango chutney and put in a WhatsApp, and people liked it. And after a few days, some people asked me the menu, and after another 2 3 days, they had put a photo of mango chutney they made. We made hibiscus dosa, hibiscus leaves with rice. We made into dosa and we put in water. So when they tasted it and when we showed it, they said, "Oh, this also can be cooked." And some people started whatever their feedback on their feedback. And now what is happening with me is those people who looked at my photo, when they see some similar videos, they send it to me, and I get a new plant that can be cooked. So this sharing of knowledge will increase my knowledge. So from thus onwards, those who are interested in learning such things, once you start it, you need to share it. So I shared some video, and I get in return I got some other plants, unwanted plants, which also can be cooked like this. So now this on a small scale can take into larger scale, so that our biodiversity, our environment, our global one, all those things can be managed and got a peaceful life. Yes, please. Hello.
Yes, sir. I'll take up the next question. Are there ongoing research initiatives or projects focused on exploring the nutritional potential of wheats in India?
Yeah, there are many research papers. Exactly, when I wrote this book, I went to many research papers. Those research papers are there. Research papers are published. Research are already ongoing across. Only thing, those research papers has to be communicated in the language that farmers understand. So research papers are for scientific communities, and books and magazines or extension work are for farming communities. So people farming community will not be able to understand these research papers. They will not be interested in that. So now only thing there's a job is conversion of this research paper into a understandable format from the farmer side has to be done so that farmers will take up this into practical. There are researches going on.
Okay. What processing methods can be employed to make wheats more palatable and easily consumable as food supplements?
So fresh, if you are able to fresh, like just like any other vegetables, they can be. But when you want it to process it, and drying is the best, making into powder and using it as a best method.
Okay. How can farmers integrate the cultivation of edible weeds into existing crop rotation systems or agroforestry practices?
Now this one is not. Weeds are already growing up as usual to maintain because nature's routine to maintain its flora and fauna. So only thing we need to learn about the uses of it because we need not sow the seeds of weeds and cultivate them and integrate with the cropping system. They are growing. Only thing we need to understand what weeds, where the weeds has to be removed, where the weeds can be kept, not affecting the plant. If it is affected, it doesn't affect, but still, then if you have a conscious, so where it affects, which weeds has to be pulled, removed at what stage. If there are creeper weeds, we need not bother about them because it doesn't affect the plant much. If there are weeds which grows higher than the crop plant, then those weeds has to be removed to protect the main crop. So obviously for that we need to understand what weeds damage the crop in what stage, at what level, so that we can take a precautionary measure on this.
Okay. Are there any regulatory considerations or guidelines that farmers should be aware of when incorporating weeds into their farming and dietary practices?
No, I'm not aware of, but as I understand, there would not be any such regulations as on date. Because I don't have any idea of that. But still, then I don't have that idea that there must be a rule which says you eat this, you should not eat this.
In what ways can the government or agricultural extension services support farmers in promoting the use of weeds as food supplements?
Okay, there are a lot of things that they can do. Like they need to understand first. They need to understand what are those weeds available in their area, to what extent they can be used as vegetables, and first they should get a confidence that they can be eaten, they can be cooked, and they should have a first hand information on that, and they should have practiced it. Because when we started this, many people were afraid of like how do you take a decision and this can be done and all. So we took like based on our research paper, based on Google videos, YouTube videos, we believed that this can be cooked and we did it. So first and foremost, they should have a confidence that these things are available and these vegetables can be cooked in this way, and we had a taste with it. Then they should go on starting promoting it, like they should cook and show to the people this is eaten. And we also showed that this is eaten by a people, normal people only. This is not eaten by a poor people, because there's also egoism comes. See, we don't get what they're asking to eat. So it's not in that way. Health benefits, food supplement support requirement, all these things can be explained to farmers. And also at the same time, even city urbanites also should be educated on this. So urbanites, if they start using, obviously rural people will also start.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We have now completed the round of questions. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank Mr. Mallinath Hemadi for the talk and for answering the questions. I like to also thank all the participants in the meeting. This meeting will now be closed.